Why is it important for undiagnosed autistic adults to seek out a professional diagnosis or even self-diagnose? Hi, I'm Shannon, a neurodiversity-affirming counselor in training. I'll be earning my master's degree in December from Northwestern University, and I'm also a late diagnosed autistic. So why is it important for autistics to receive a diagnosis or even self-diagnose in adulthood? There are a number of ways that understanding your neurodivergence can help even in adulthood. The first is understanding yourself better. When we understand ourselves, we can identify what our needs are and why we don't quite fit in with the rest of society. We can begin to understand why certain textures feel so uncomfortable to us, why we feel so passionately about our interests, why we don't seem to mature like others our age, and why certain sensory experiences are so upsetting. We can also begin to fit the pieces together of our past and identify why we felt so isolated or bullied, or why certain adults didn't seem to like us too much. Second, there's access to services. While this one may not apply to self-diagnosed adults as much, it can still be beneficial. Many employers don't even require a formal diagnosis in order to receive accommodations. Further, you don't even really need to tell them you're autistic. You can just say that you have sensory difficulties, or you process information differently, or just that you're over or understimulated. For those who do have an official diagnosis, this could open you up to receiving accommodations in undergraduate or even graduate school, as well as when you take your licensure exams. It can also help you receive disability benefits like Social Security. Third, improved self-acceptance. When you begin to realize that you're autistic, and going a step further, when your family and friends begin to understand you're autistic, it can put some periods where question marks once were. It can help you and others begin to understand that you're not weird or odd or whatever the case may be. You're just neurodivergent, and that realization can help you feel more accepted by your community. And most importantly, when you begin to understand yourself better, you begin to accept yourself more. Fourth, finding your neuro tribe. This term was actually coined by Steve Silberman in his 2016 book, Neurotribes, The Legacy of Autism and the Future of Neurodiversity. We all need to feel more at ease when we find our community or our tribe. This can be a group of people with similar interests and personalities that just get each other. They don't even necessarily have to be what society considers friends. So a neurotribe would be a group of people whose brains function in much the same way, who have shared experiences and can understand why others in their tribe behave the way they do and accept them unconditionally. Plus, there's the added benefit of having shared interests as well, which most tribes kind of revolve around. Fifth, improved mental health. Once you begin to understand that you're autistic, you can seek out appropriate services, like neurodiversity-affirming care. This can be mental health treatment or even health care as a whole. But neurodiversity-affirming care doesn't stop there. Neurodiversity-affirming care can apply to shopping, religious experiences, sporting events, education, friendships, and even love. Some of the most common things I've heard from people who've learned they were autistic in adulthood have been that there's a period of grief over not being diagnosed earlier, followed by anger for traumatic experiences endured, then relief, understanding, and finally acceptance. This new identity has been shown to improve symptoms of depression and anxiety. It can also help in previous misdiagnoses in your chart. Learning that I'm autistic has helped me in ways that I never thought possible. It's because of this new understanding that I became focused on a specialty in my counseling education and learned what it meant to be a neurodiversity-affirming therapist and teacher. Before I began my internship, I was a substitute teacher for a time, and now that I'm going to begin my professional career, the site I'm at offers wellness days, which are every other Fridays. So I may continue substitute teaching as well when I have a Friday off. That has also helped me to identify the needs of certain students, even if they're not diagnosed. Typically, those of us who are autistic can very easily identify others who are autistic or neurodivergent, even if they're not diagnosed. But most of all, it helped me to become a better parent. Before I received my diagnosis, there were traits that my children expressed that reminded me so much of myself, too much of myself, things I hated about myself, things that got me bullied and punished as a kid. These traits annoyed me and made me a very toxic parent. Now, however, I understand those traits and why they bother me. There are, of course, things that still bother me that my kids do, not because they remind me of me, though, but because they're overstimulating. But now, I have improved understanding of what's actually happening inside me, and I can better deal with it in a healthier way and be a better parent to my children and a better husband to my wife. That's why adult diagnosis or even adult self-realization is important. If you're on the fence about seeking out a professional diagnosis or even taking a few self-assessments like on embraceautism.com, I encourage you to do it because it'll help you understand yourself better. Could improve your mental health, improve resources for you, maybe make you a better parent, make you a better friend, make you a better spouse. That's just my opinion, though. And this very thing is what I'm doing my capstone research paper and presentation on. How diagnosis in adulthood or even self-realization in adulthood impacts mental health.